Bert, it's bedtime, buddy. You ready? I'm gonna name. Hold on to Kitty. Go, Kitty. Go. Go on. Go on, Kitty. Come here. Let me see you. Let me see you. Let me see you. I wasn't outside a lot today. My dad's looking good. I feel like his eyes still have to heal more. Don't see much movement back there. That's good. You're looking good today, buddy. I'll put my other glove back on. It's kind of chilly out here. I'm literally using moving gloves. They work, you know. They have those little grippers on there. When you're moving furniture. All right, babies, come on. It's bedtime now. You ready? You coming, Charlie? Let's go. Somebody got bit. Come on, babies. Come on. You coming? Let's go. Kitties, I already fed you guys. Knock it off. Come on, babies. Come on. Come get your num-nums. It's num-num time. Come on. It's num-num time. I bet you guys are relieved that the weather is not hot anymore, huh? Come on, babies. Num-num time. Ooh, my little chubby goose. I'm a little worried about you, mamas. You're getting a little heavy. Look at her. She's getting a little heavy. Now, she might just be putting weight on because she's a migratory bird. So, and it's normal for Canadas to put on weight in the fall. So I just need to watch her. Come on, guys. Come on. Don't mess with that, buddy. It's stuff I gotta carry to the front. Come on. Come on, babies. Come on, babies. Come on. My goodness. Who messed with the water? Ew. Y'all made a mess today. Just want Mama to work hard, don't you? Alright. I'm glad that we've got that figured out. Alrighty, let's see. Didn't get to do a lot today. First things first, though. Need to check on our little victim over here. If you look, hey Nugget, you decide to perch tonight? Did you decide to perch tonight? Well, I'm happy to see that you came in and that you didn't stay out there. Good girl. Hey you, Burrito. So Burrito had an accident or attack. Something happened. I don't know what. The only thing that I know that's different about our yard right now is that we do have a tomcat that started showing up on our property again here and there. He doesn't usually come close to the birds, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of the ladies went through the fence, as in Burrito went through the fence, and if he got a hold of her head for a moment there and somehow sliced off or bit off some of her spikes on top. Now, she's been healing really well. I had her inside for 48 hours, and she's doing much better. She's all right. I just let her rejoin her flock earlier today. When I first let everybody out, I let her join because daytime today, it was actually much warmer than it has been these last days. You all right, bud? Hey, calm down. And no, those are not pocks or anything or wounds. Those are, well, they're small wounds because he did get into a fight with one of the other roosters. He's okay, though. I'm still desperately looking for homes for some of these guys. So, if anybody knows anyone, especially in the Texan area, who is open to taking on a rooster or two, let me know. I have one that can be taken as a pair, and then I have a couple of single roosters that need homes. So that needs to get out of here. How's the babies doing? How's the babies? Let's do a head count here. We have 2 of those, 1 of that, 1 of that, 1 of that. 2 of those, 1 of that, 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 1 of that. We have this guy. Let's see. Did we add any more eggs? Yep, we got a little egg in here. Little itty bitty one. Those are ceramic eggs. No egg in there. Let's see what we got over here. We've got a chicken. Using this one. Hello, Kennedy. Let's see. Oh, we got 1 egg in here. Look at that size difference. That's the difference between a bantam egg and a regular sized egg. And one of our bantams actually lays an egg that's even smaller than this. But she isn't laying right now. It's actually this one. She lays the tiniest little eggs. And that's a ceramic egg in there. That's it. It's okay, mamas. She's our little bantam cooch and frizzle. Don't worry, I'll feed you. Anyway, we collected, let's see, 5 eggs earlier today, and then 2 this evening. So that makes it 7 eggs today. And it's not bad, considering the time of the year and all that. Pretty bird. Come on, guys. Mama's gotta clean up. Time to get this out of here. See, I don't know how long pumpkin is good outside for them to keep nibbling on, because they've been working on this pumpkin for like a couple of days. So I'm taking it away because I don't know if it's safe for them to still use it or still eat it. Not use it, eat it. So I'm removing it. Hold on, guys. Let me close this door so you guys don't escape. I'll do this. This is what I love about this. You know, when you build your own stuff, you can build in little details that come in handy for you. I love that I built this door in 2 pieces. So I have a way to enclose it completely, or I can leave the top open if, for an example, I'm okay with the chickens getting out, but I want to keep the geese in. I just close the bottom. The chickens aren't going to try. What's up, Keisha? I'll help you over so geese don't get you. There you go, mamas. Anyway, the chickens aren't going to try to get out right now because it's dark out. And other than Nugget, none of the chickens go outside when it's dark. I always have to double check and make sure and confirm that she's inside, because her goofy butt likes to sneak out when I'm out there with the oh no, they don't. No, they don't attack me. Here. So, let's see. I don't know if you're new to the channel. This right here is Pretty Bird. He's a star for us. He's the #1. He is going on 4 years this next April, and I hatched and raised him. You're tired. My goodness. And then we have, let's see, who are you? This is Delta. He will be 1 in May. So these guys are technically still goslings in a way. And then this is Echo. Echo will also be 1 in May. Babies. And then this right here is Charlie. Charlie. Hi, Charlie. And yes, permits are required in the US to keep these geese. And I do have permits for my geese, for the ones that are required for. And then this right here is Blue. Now, Blue does not like being touched. She's a mischief. I did hand raise all my geese. Well, almost all my geese. This right here is Squirt. Hey, Greg. And this right here is Squirt. She's our little itty bitty one. She does not like being touched. She came to me when she was about 6 months old, and I've had her for about a year now. So she came to me almost exactly a year ago. Actually, I got her in December, I think it was, of last year. So she's about a year and a half old. She's from not this past summer, but the summer before that, last year's summer. So, and she's a cackling. And then the breeds are cackling. This right here is a Chinese African goose. Chinese African. Not 100% sure on that. Leave that alone. That's trash. Mama's carrying that to the front. We got a Canada, another Canada, and a Canada Swan hybrid, which is how this channel started, because Pretty Bird was a surprise goose. Yes, you were. You were a surprise. You surprised me with your existence, and then you went and stole my heart. They're good at that. If you take your time and you really hand raise them, and you give them a lot of attention, and you spend all day with them non-stop for like at least the first 3 months, but I would say for pretty much the first year of their lives, and you spend most of your time with them, you have a really good chance of it resulting in having a goose that is more tame. They're never going to be what we consider 100% tame in that sense, because geese are going to... What is going on with your eye? I'm suspicious of that eye. Greg, you know Pretty Bird really well. Are you noticing that? Look at that. I swear that eye looks more glassy or something. Or is it my paranoia getting to me again? Pretty Bird being so sick for so long. I gotta go turn on the water so I can spray out their bowls. It's a little chilly right now down here in Texas. I don't know, it seems to keep closing that eye. Thank you, Kennedy. I really appreciate it. See, this channel pretty much is just about the birds, and literally like just about the animals, and me trying to take care of everybody. And they bring us a lot of joy. So, and they're just silly, you know. They have these silly little habits and their own little personalities. And long ago, my kids, when we first had Pretty Bird, he was a few months old. The kids were like, Pretty Bird makes us so happy and he makes us laugh and he's so awesome. It wouldn't be fair if we didn't share him. Like, we should make a YouTube channel. So I did. Ironically, it started out as the kids' idea and kind of became my responsibility. And people like Greg have been around since, I want to say, the beginning. And have watched Pretty Bird grow up over the last couple of years and go through different phases of behavior. Let me see your eye. Pretty Bird, let me see your eye. Let me see. Let me see. This eye looks fine. I mean the other one. So look, it keeps kind of pinching it. See what I mean? Look at that. Keep closing it. That's open. That one's halfway. Are you just tired or something wrong with your eye? I might put some antibiotic in. I'll ask the vet about it and call her, see what she thinks. If this could just be like a leftover thing. For you, Kennedy, Pretty Bird had been really, really sick for like 2 months. He kept having breathing problems. And, yeah, it was scary there a few times because we didn't know what was going on, and then I'd give him medication and he would seem to get better and he would be fine for a couple of days and then he'd relapse. So with the help of some of Pretty Bird's supporters, I was then finally able to afford to take him to the vet after I found an avian vet who was really far away and found a friend of mine who was willing to take me to that vet. And we were able to get him on a higher dose of antibiotics that were easier to administer in a way that would be more accurate. And ever since then, he's been doing much better. But after spending 2 months constantly watching him relapse, at this point, I feel like I'm being paranoid all the time. I constantly feel like I'm seeing symptoms of him relapsing or having issues. And then it turns out to be nothing, and then he'll have no more symptoms. It's so cold. I'm from Arizona, living in Texas. I'm not used to this. Good bird, be nice to the kitty. What? Shh. Shush. Nope. Shh. That's not shush. Shh. Quiet. 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 Sometimes when he honks, he sticks his tongue out. I think it's the funniest thing. And then he licks his lip afterwards. Delta. 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 Get be quiet. Yeah. Plus, we never actually diagnosed it. Like, we never were able to figure out for sure what it was because some of the symptoms just didn't seem to add up. Well, thank you, Kennedy. That's really nice of you to say. I do try. I love all my goofies, you know? They really do mean the world to me. You know, I've got my human children inside, and I've got my feathered children outside. Oh, and my furry ones too. Can't forget about those. And then we've got a scaly baby, our little beardy, and he's a little bearded dragon. And then we have cockatiels as well. Am I forgetting anything? I always feel like I'm forgetting my animals. And then we have, of course, our chickens. That's right. But the ones that record the most are the geese and the chickens. That's what the channel is mostly. Pretty Bird, I know you don't like the brush. Ow! That hurts! No, don't hurt me! I only wield the brush! I know you hate the brush. Leave it! Quick, hands! No! Get it! Get it! Ow! That's mine! It's okay. See, look, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Look, it's gone. It's gone. It's okay. It's okay. It's gone now. Do you want num-nums? Do you want num-nums? Yeah? You guys want num-nums? Mama's got kale inside. Give me a minute. Let me clean this out first. He does not like me scrubbing stuff. I don't know what it is. But anytime I use any kind of brush, it doesn't matter what color it is, he hates it. He also doesn't like the hose. He starts attacking it. Are you having fun? You know you're creating a giant puddle for me to walk through when I'm done out here, right? Right, now we can refill it. You're a dork. Pretty bird. There, attack it over there. Excuse me. And he attacks buckets and pools just like George does. I feel like he learned it from George. Pretty Bird, like after I created my channel and I was doing a lot of research on geese because I had established that Pretty Bird was a Canada Goose hybrid, and I got really, really nervous about him being part Canada Goose because Canada geese are illegal to own without a permit, right? In the US. So I got really nervous thinking that, you know, Pretty Bird would be taken from me. Well, with the help of some wardens and a lot of research, I was able to establish that he's not illegal. Oh, and some breeders. So, wardens, breeders, and research. What are you doing, Blue? Go back out. It's okay. What was I doing? Oh, yeah, the water bowl. I have like 17 water bowls in here because, well, I have chickens and a whole lot of them. And I have a bunch of babies inside. And I have geese. And geese and ducks require deep water. They need water that they can fit their nostrils and their head into, because clean water is part of how they clean their airways, especially when they're eating grain, and also part of how they clean their eyes. And it's absolutely vital for them to have baths, like enough water for them to take a bath on a regular basis. All right, now I'm gonna go turn off the water, baby. Hold on, I'll be right back. And they want to follow me. See? They want to come with. Because that's what they grew up doing. Pretty Bird actually went on walks with me until he was, what, 2.5? But that was before we lived in Texas. Well, we still lived in Arizona. And we had a... what's it called? That puddle's deep enough already. And we didn't have a very big backyard. So I would take Pretty Bird out on walks every day. And that's actually how the channel started. It's me just taking Pretty Bird on walks. And the other reason we started the channel too was because every time I did any research on geese, I would find all this information about how geese were aggressive and how they were evil. And sure, there are the videos that are kind of joking about it, which are fine and good and whatever. But you really don't find very many videos about geese that are positive. You usually find videos about geese that refer to them as being aggressive, dangerous animals that you should steer a wide curve around. And I don't necessarily agree with the entire message. If you see a wild goose that looks like one of my Canadas over here, like these guys over here, then yes, you should not approach them. They're wild animals, and like any wild animal, they're scared of humans. Unless they've been acclimated to humans, and in those cases, it can go either way. But the thing is that they're not aggressive, in my opinion. Aggression, in my opinion, is an unprovoked state in our reality. To me, the definition of aggression, when I hear the word aggressive being used, it means to me that somebody will attack or treat you badly for no apparent reason. Like, for an example, an abuser is somebody who's in a constant state of aggression, right? Somebody who's just without reason, without a proper cause, they have a sense of aggression. Whereas geese, they're not attacking for nothing. They're not attacking for the fun of it. They're attacking to protect their mates. They actually mate for life, especially Canada geese, the wild geese do. They're attacking their nests. They're attacking They're protecting their nests. They're protecting their goslings. They're protecting their mates. They're protecting their flock mates. They're protecting their brothers and sisters, the entire thing. And if you put thought into it and you think about the fact that these are migratory birds, right? And Canada geese spend a good amount of their time flying from one location to the next all across the US. And guess what the humans have? Hunting season. Now, if you think about it, how would you feel about a species, let's say aliens, that showed up on Earth twice a year for a couple of weeks and just randomly shot at the sick, the ones who were a little bit too slow, maybe your children, your grandparents, your spouse, and then left you alone for a couple of months before they would then return to shoot at you again? You would hate them, you would dislike them, you would fear them. And that's kind of how I perceive what geese experience when humans approach them, and why geese are so aggressive towards them when they come anywhere near their goslings or nests. I mean, we're shooting at them, for Christ's sakes. Why would they like us? You know? And in my opinion, just like to a goose, to a human, every single Canada goose, when you don't know them, when you didn't raise them, when you don't have any experience with them, every single one of them probably looks the same to you, right? You look at them, it just looks like a big group of identical looking animals. But they do have slight differences in their size, in their colorations. Like Charlie over here has, she has little black spots on her white part, on her white cheek. She has, and she's actually thinner than Blue. Blue has whiter cheeks and has a larger white part than Charlie. And Blue is heavier than Charlie. Charlie is actually thinner. Right, there you go. That's Charlie. And that's Blue. But that was one of the reasons why I started this channel as well, was because I felt like people seemed so angry with geese when it seems odd to me. It just seemed odd to me that people didn't see that they did have reason. Even if we don't see the reason, they still see the reason, you know? Your neck looks a little swollen there, bud. See, I'm doing it again. You alright, buddy? He doesn't like it when I wear gloves. You okay? I don't have anything in there, right? It's not supposed to be in there? But the thing is, most of us, we don't think about those things, Kennedy. Like, it's just like when people say, put yourself in their shoes when it comes to another human being, when we don't understand why they're doing something or behaving a certain way. In a way, in my opinion, based on everything that I know about humans, humankind is it's a pretty selfish race. our first thought is how are we going to benefit ourselves, right? Whether it comes to crops, survival, whether it comes to day-to-day life, whether it comes to building shelter or whatever, we're not thinking, are we hurting the tree, taking it down? We're thinking, I need some wood to build a shelter to survive, right? And any being really has that first initial reaction. So when we think about an animal attacking us, we're not first thinking, hey, why are they attacking me? Like, what's the legitimate reason they're doing this? We're more thinking, why the heck are you attacking me? Why would you do that? I didn't do anything to you, because you personally didn't do anything to them, you know? But that's what I meant with how the geese all look the same to us. I've always kind of thought we probably all look the same to them as well. Unless they grow up with one specific human. Like my geese, for an example, can tell me apart from every other human because I raised them, right? And I can tell these guys apart from other geese because I know them down to the detail. I know their scars, I know their little markings, I know little special little personality traits because I've had them since they were babies. But any wild goose, I wouldn't really be able to keep them apart like this. Like I do these guys. Like I can usually pretty simply tell you which one is Blue and which one's Charlie. But there are moments where I mix them up, where I need to take a closer look, but I can figure it out fairly easily, whereas others wouldn't really be able to do that. The same with the African geese. I have little telltale signs between behavior and different characteristics on their bodies that tell me which one's which. Like I know for a fact this is Delta without looking at the other one, because Delta has more of a skin flap underneath his chin right there. He's also a little bit taller. He also usually stands with his head up high. He also has a little V shape on his knob in the front that Echo doesn't really have, not like this, not this pronounced. And he's much louder and more vocal. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, Bubba's. And he usually follows me around much closer than Echo does. Sorry, I gotta carry a heavy bucket of water. But yeah, and when it comes to the educating thing, I don't claim to be an expert by far. I'm constantly learning. You'll see me all over, like, on, like, Facebook groups and stuff, constantly asking questions about chickens and geese. It's more like I like to look for different perspectives, I guess. It's a habit of mine. It's what I do. I like to research and understand things, especially things that are closer to me, that I care about. I guess the way I'd describe it is kind of like with my son, for an example. My son was born, and a couple years after he was born, when he was about 2 years old, he was diagnosed with autism. And after he was diagnosed with autism, one of my biggest focuses for a long time was to understand what that meant. But what it meant specifically for him, right? So between getting to know my own child and my own child's specific needs and wants and requirements, I was also learning about other children with autism and the different variants and how it's different for different people and how there's neurodiversity and neurotypical people and all those other things, and how there are some similarities to my husband, who happens to be a 100% disabled vet, who has severe PTSD and deals with chronic pain. And interestingly enough, we found a lot of similarities between the PTSD and my son's sensory issues when it comes to sight and hearing and even touch. Because our brains can have similarities and differences in many different aspects. But so just like you would research it if you have somebody in your family who struggles with something, you know, if like, I don't know, a nephew or a child were to, God forbid, be born, not God forbid, but we'd be born different, right? If the child was born with any kind of challenge or any kind of difference, you would want to understand it as good as you can so that you can be supportive of that child because you love that child and care about that child. It's the same thing with these animals for me. Just like I researched and learned about my son, I'm trying to put in the effort to research and learn about my animals so that I can understand them as best as possible, to try and understand their body language, to try and understand how they communicate, so that I can overall become a better provider to them. But as you do that, you often discover things that become, I don't know how to call it, like stereotypical norms that people assume about something. And you go, wait a minute, it's not like that at all. And for me, the biggest one was always that geese were so aggressive. Because in most cases, geese aren't hand raised on the same level as what I've done in my case. So, sorry, don't mean to make you guys stare at poop or touch poop. Lovely, lovely. The joy of birds. Yeah, you get used to that. It's kind of like having kids. You get used to getting peed on and pooped on. It becomes less bad for some reason. It's not like I don't wash my hands when I go inside, but in the past it would have been a bigger deal to me. I would have probably went and put on gloves or washed my hands right away. Now I just kind of go ahead and take care of what needs to be taken care of and just pay attention not to touch my face. Alright, pretty bird. See, he has a problem with me using any kind of tool. He doesn't like it. He has to be in the midst of it. Pretty bird, stop it. Nope. And yes, I washed that snooper before using it for other things. I need to go grab a trash bag. Don't I? Darn it. Oh, man, I forgot. I don't think this one can handle me. Nope. It's heavy. Nope. Another trash bag it is. No, you can't come with me, babies. I'm sorry. Y'all need to stay in here. Y'all need to stay in here. But so in that sense, I'm just sharing what I've learned, what I've found out. But whenever I learn something or find out something or share something that I've learned from like researching and stuff, I always really hope that people understand that I want to encourage them to research it themselves and don't just take my word for it, because I will make mistakes. And I'm not trying to tell people the wrong thing. Okay. Never mind. It's right here, sir. Love you. Watch out, kitty. Kiss ya, go. Yes, I'm coming. Jeez. I'm coming. I hear you. Yes. Thank the Lord it's not that late yet. You know, fun fact about Pretty Bird is that there was a time where I was trying to confirm Pretty Bird's breed, like a specific breed, if he was mixed with swan goose or Chinese goose. So Pretty Bird is a hybrid, which is a mixed bird between two breeds, between a swan goose and Canada goose. The thing is that the swan goose has two different domestic kinds. The swan goose has the Chinese goose, and the swan goose has the African goose. They're very similar, but also very different. The African goose can be like, I think it's around 20 pounds for the gander, or 25 pounds. They're big meat birds. Whereas the Chinese goose is more like 6 or 7 pounds. The Chinese goose is generally kept for laying eggs and for breeding, whereas the African goose is usually kept for breeding and for either showing, for like a show bird, or for meat production. And So with these guys, I'm not sure what they are, because the thing is, a lot of breeders are not very careful. Like, a lot of hatcheries aren't 100% careful with their birds, and they try to create a larger version of the Chinese goose or a smaller version of the African goose. And both of those are descendants of the swan goose, which is kind of like Europe's Canada goose. So they have a goose over there that flies around and migrates, and it's called a swan goose. And if you look it up, you'll notice it does not have that knob on its nose. And from my understanding, scientists don't know, biologists and all those people, they don't know why they developed this when these were domesticated. They have no idea why. I've not found any article that explained why they developed it. Now, they might have figured it out. What'd you guys do? You guys hit it over. Everybody okay? Everybody good? You good? I don't think anybody did it. Who did it? No? Nobody? Alright. You guys are suspiciously quiet. Anyway. So, I tried to identify Pretty Bird, which one of the swan geese offspring, like, right? It is, though. Really is. The quiet before the storm with geese. Because Delta will go off at any point, and man, that boy's loud. But I tried to identify if Pretty Bird was mixed with a Chinese goose or with a African goose from the swan goose side. And I got nowhere with it, because the only ways that usually you can distinguish those things is, one, the Chinese and the African goose have a difference in their honk. And of course in their appearance. And then two, you could find it out through the DNA. So Pretty Bird, of course, I can't go by appearance because he's mixed between two different breeds. These breeds already have a lot of different similarities that we found. And the Chinese and the African goose already look almost identical to each other. But what is interesting is that I tried to identify Pretty Bird based on his honk for a while. And when I shared his honk in a lot of different groups, like Backyard Chicken, on Facebook, on different chicken and goose groups, and duck groups and all that, where goose owners would be, and even breeders and such, and I would show his honk around all over, not one person could identify it. And instead, I was being told by so many people, I've been working with geese all my life, I've had so many breeds, I've never heard a goose sound like that. So far, nobody's ever told me that they've heard a goose that sounds like Pretty Bird. So somehow, even his vocal cord, from my understanding, is pretty unique. I never hear that any of the geese sound like him. Like, when I hear him making noises and all that stuff, he doesn't sound like a Canada goose when he honks. Canada geese have a very distinct honk. He doesn't sound like a Chinese or an African, really. He has a very different kind of honk. And then even his neck, his entire structure is very different as well. Pretty Bird seems to have almost a different kind of proportion to his body. That's a mixture between the swan goose and the Canada goose. And that's more where my fascination lies when it comes to specifically geese, is in the hybrid area. I have a huge fascination for geese in general, but I have a very specific fascination for hybrids. Different fertility reasons or non-fertility reasons, the DNA that comes to play there. Why was Pretty Bird born with a black beak but light-colored flippers when Canada geese have dark flippers? Yet he has orange flippers. But his flippers more have like a yellowish orange, whereas Chinese geese have an orange. Which again is interesting. Why are his slightly different? was his mother not a purebred Chinese or African? So, I don't know. Things like that just fascinate me, and I find them very interesting. And I count myself lucky. Will you open up trash bag? I count myself lucky to have accidentally ended up with a unique bird. And you might understand it too, like if you guys go on, like just go on Google search and just Google hybrid Canada geese or hybrid swan goose or hybrid swan goose Canada goose. There's a couple that look similar to Pretty Bird, like very similar. You can still tell the difference though, especially if you know him well. And the other thing I find fascinating is Pretty Bird has been ever changing throughout his life. All that white you see on the back of his neck right here, that wasn't there. He was completely black on the back of his head, a straight line all the way down, just like these guys have. And he actually has a division of his feathers, the way the pattern is on the side. You can see that the feathers on the back appear longer, and on the side they're shorter and almost polka dotted. And that's actually changed over time to where he's gotten more polka dots on the side of his neck, where he's been gaining more white around his neck over time. And I'm really wondering if his neck is going to turn like more white over time, or how much more white it's going to turn as he gets older. Because like I said, that line on the back, he had none of those white feathers on the back of his head. And then after one time when he molted, he got a random white feather, and then he got another one, and then he got more, and it just started growing in as white instead of the black ones. And this has been going on for a while now. Now, there are supposedly conditions. I cannot pronounce this one condition. I'm so sorry. Michael Jackson had it as well. Vitiligo. I'm so sorry. I cannot pronounce it properly. Pronouncing some words is like my downfall. I think you guys know what I'm talking about, where your skin color loses its melanin. And I've wondered, because this can happen in birds as well, so I've wondered if that's something that's going on with Pretty Bird, or if this is just a hybrid thing. And I don't find a lot of information on this stuff. There's some people who have studied specifically hybrids, and it's taken me years to find those studies. Not even joking. Like, it's literally taken me years to find out how big Pretty Bird's chances are of being fertile. As in, there apparently, if Pretty Bird was a female, his chances of being fertile would be 0. But since he's a male, apparently there's a small chance that Pretty Bird could be fertile. And I gotta tell you, especially Greg will know this, how cool would it be if we had little Pretty Birds? I don't care who he makes, just if we had little Pretty Birds. You know what I mean? And then, like, if one of the little Pretty Birds would end up becoming George's little friend, and George would have a buddy now, right? Kennedy, I don't know if you know Pet Goose George, but he's an awesome gander, has an awesome owner. His owner is a Vietnam vet, if I'm not wrong. Amazing man. His name's Bob. He's a good guy. Everything I know about him, he's a good guy. I've spoken to him personally. He's got a big heart. He has a channel as well. He's got that white Chinese goose. He went viral a couple years back when his video of him taking George into Walmart went viral because George follows him everywhere. And in George's case, George was one of the very sad stories, I believe, that happens a lot, which I know it happens a lot, but I believe George belongs to these stories where people get themselves a goose hearing about pet geese. They don't realize that a goose is not like a dog. See, geese communicate with their mouths, not just through noise, but also through touch and nipping and bites. So if you watch a goose flock, you'll see that they nip at each other. Well, if I'm doing this to Pretty Bird and I pinch him, he's not really feeling anything, right? This is not going to hurt him because I'm pinching feathers and down. We don't have feathers and down. So when he nibbles on my hand, he's just talking to me. He's telling me something. He's trying to communicate with me that I'm just simply not getting, which is probably super frustrating to him. But he doesn't realize that that hurts me, potentially. Oh. Am I back? Or did you mean you lost me as in what I was talking about? Sorry, the reception in my barn isn't always the best. Will you guys let me clean this up? Let me clean up your poop. Excuse me. Excuse me. Are you guys able to hear me? See me? All that fun stuff? Creeper, why are you trying to eat it? Weirdo. What are you doing? What? Is everything working again? Or no? Just let me know when you guys can hear me again. Pretty Bird. It's cold out. Oh, okay, good. I don't know if Kennedy meant she lost me as in what I was talking about, or lost me as in like the connection. Because the connection out here isn't that great, so I wouldn't be surprised if things got a little hazy here and there. But the point I was trying to make was that I believe George was one of those many, many pet geese that was purchased and raised by someone who thought it was really cool to have a pet goose or even have a guard goose or something and hand raise them up. And then realized that, hey, geese bite. Geese use their beaks. Geese aren't like dogs where you can train them to never nip, right? Never bite. Because for them, nipping and biting is not a form of aggression. It's a form of communication. That would be like, us telling our children that they should never use their voice. Or part of their body, like they should never use their body language, for an example. That would be the same thing. Saying that you cannot speak with your arms, you cannot use your body language, you cannot point at anything ever. That would be unnatural for them. That would go completely against what they're like. Now, some geese have an easier time understanding to be gentle. Like, from my understanding, George. But, sometimes you can hear Bob kind of joking about it, saying that George is being nippy today. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. I tend to assume that he's talking. Darn it. I need more of this. I'm out. Anyway, I assume that that's what he's talking about. That he's talking about George having an attitude in a way, but that is not necessarily an attitude that means what we may think it means. All right, guys, it's not going to be much tonight. It's not going to be all nice and fresh and fluffy tonight. But least it'll be something. As soon as Mama gets to the store, I'm gonna get you some more. Anyway. But, so when people realize that these geese are not, gonna stop nipping at their 2-year-old, or aren't gonna stop, flapping their big wings when they're mad, or when they're stretching, or when they're, just trying to cool down or something, and that getting hit with those wings actually really hurts, they end up turning those animals loose. Instead of putting in the effort, a lot of people, not everyone, don't get me wrong, far from it, but many people do end up setting them out, taking them somewhere, like for an example, where Bob used to live. I'm pretty sure Bob has a video about it, on how George came to his property. And they just set him out there. And then that's that. And many times these animals end up in several rescues, or go from one owner to another, until one owner has a harder time getting rid of them, or the animal bites their kid and bruises them, and then they're mad, and they set the animal out of the lake, and they go, well, it's a bird, I'm letting him go free, I'm doing something nice. What they're not realizing is that it's not nice. You're doing the exact same thing you would be doing if you set loose a dog or a cat as a stray. It's the exact same thing, and sadly most people don't know this. Domesticated birds are no different from domesticated dogs and cats when it comes to dependency on humans. We've made them dependent on us. Whenever the word domesticated comes in, just might as well add on the word dependent. Because once they've been domesticated by humans, they've been made dependent on humans. My cockatiels would have an extremely low survival chance in the wild, even if they were in Arizona or California. Yes, some birds survive. Yes, some of them successfully create a flock. It's possible. It's not unheard of that some birds can make it through. But when you compare the survival chances of an animal that was raised in captivity to the survival chances of an animal that was raised in the wild, the difference is ginormous. It's huge. And the chances of the animal that was raised in captivity dying once you set them free is extremely high. So you're not doing them any favors when you purchase the animal from an animal store and then walk out into the woods and set them free. All you're doing is really just putting them down in a way. It's just another cow. And so whenever you go to a local lake, it's okay, I'm here. You're okay. It's okay. It's okay, I'm here. Huh? Whenever you go to your local lake or your local river and you see a goose that looks like this, that has the knob on their nose, okay? Or you see a goose that looks like Pretty Bird, you can bet your bottom dollar there's a really good chance that goose was either that goose or that goose's parents was put out there by a human. This is not an animal we normally have in the wild. Chinese geese and African geese are not are not a domestic breed to the U.S. They're a European breed. They're Asian and European, the Asias in the European area. I think Asia, not Europe. Not 100% on that. But it's either Asia or Europe. It might be both. Part of it. But it might even be the Middle East and Asia. I forget. Anyways, Asia's included now. Either way, my point is that they're not made to live in our climate. Plus, they were raised in captivity, which means that they were never taught how to live in the wild. When I say they were never taught to live in the wild, I am meaning that literally. As in, just like humans, we raise our children to survive in the world out there. And we instill our children with our knowledge so that our kids have the best chance possible to make it in this crazy world. In the same way, goose breeds and many, many other species out there actually raise their children for extended periods of times. For an example, a Canada goose will follow their parent around nonstop for an entire year, for an average of 10 to 12 months. They will go through 2 migratory seasons with their parents before they disconnect. And then they will still remain in their parents' flock and still remain close to their parent, observing and learning from the geese around them before they eventually become of age to mate, somewhere between the ages of 2 to 4 years old, depending on whether or not they're male or female. The males usually become sexually mature a little bit faster than the females do. So, in cockatiels raise their children for 18 months, not 3 months, to wean them off. 18 months that parrots, cockatiel parrots, and many parrots are identical or similar to cockatiels. They raise their children for an extended period of time under their beak, basically making sure that they know everything they know, so that when the time comes and they separate and they go to find their mate, which they won't do until after they're done being taught everything their parents know, that they have the best chances of survival. They're being taught all kinds of stuff: how to survive, how to avoid predators, how to forage, how to winter, how to make it through monsoon season, how to make it through migration, how to, all of those different things. Even mating rituals that they observe that their parents, their siblings, older siblings, their aunts and uncles, that a bunch of other birds are doing in their flock. They're learning from all of that. And so if I were to take one of my cockatiels and just let him go, or one of my cockatiels would get away, fact is that the chances of no, guys, let Pretty Bird have some first. Why is this on the floor? The chances of my cockatiels surviving in the wild are exponentially low, extremely low, because they're domesticated and therefore dependent on humans. And many, many, many times when we have a pet, that pet is living outside of its normal climate, of its normal habitat. I mean, one of the things I didn't know that I've just now recently learned, which has actually made me feel a little bad, is that certain breeds of chickens are actually not suited for hot weather, and some chickens are not suited for cold weather. Now, based on everything I know about my mix of chickens, are you taking a ride on the door? Are you good? Come here, Mama. Come on. Come on, step up. Step up. Or jump over. Come on. The door's open. You're not going to have any stability. There you go. The ones that don't like to be picked up, they don't mind being transported like that. Usually, in my experience. Anyway. The point I was just trying to make was that a lot of people don't realize that birds are the same thing as cats and dogs and everything else. Just because they're farm animals and they live outside doesn't make them any different. Just because Pretty Bird knows to eat grass doesn't mean that he doesn't still require the grain every evening. It's just one of those things where he has missed out on a lot of things that he would have if he was born in the wild, if he was raised in the wild, if he was laid by wild parents. Not to mention the instincts that we manipulate through breeding. Because, see, in the wild... Will you guys stop it? Uh-oh. Teriyaki, you're going to want to go back up. The geese have escaped. Well, what are you doing, Goof? Hey, guys. I said let Pretty Bird eat a little bit of kale first, and then you guys can have some. Because you guys always rush it. And I'm trying to get him to gain weight. You guys are all goofballs. Anyway. But for some reason, there are always all these farm geese and farm ducks that you can find at your local pond. And those animals are actually struggling to survive. And they're usually really, really, really unhealthy, and they usually don't make it for a long time. Like, most people would guess raw if they were guessing the life expectancy of a chicken. Like, just for fun, if you guys are willing, just comment real quick how many years you think off the top of your head a chicken will live. Like, how long a chicken lives. The average chicken. And I'm going to wait for a minute before I tell you the average life expectancy of a chicken. Because most will actually be surprised about it. Here you go, babies. Num-nums. Num-nums. You're pretty close, Greg. Nice. Well, it's actually 10 to 15 years. That's the actual life expectancy of a chicken, 10 to 15 years. As in a healthy chicken, who's being raised properly, who's in the right conditions, can live up to 15 years. As in the chicken's life expectancy lines up almost perfectly with that of a dog. But most people think that chickens only live 3 to 5 years, if that. Like, a lot of people think that birds don't have much of a life expectancy. Whereas cockatiels, the same thing. Cockatiels have a life expectancy of 15 years. Geese have a life expectancy of 20 plus years, depending on the breed. From my understanding, there's been some Canada geese found that they believed were somewhere closer to 30, over 30, if not closer to 40 years old. Don't know if that's true. I know I read about it. I don't remember if the source was reliable, though. But I do know that geese can live 20, 25 years, maybe even up to 30 if they got the right conditions going on, and they're healthy. And I'm hoping that we'll have Pretty Bird for that long, and every single one of these guys for that long. In 30 years, I'll be, let's see. Oh, Jesus. I'll be in my mid-60s. And hopefully I'll still be making YouTube videos of Pretty Bird. And I'd be happy to have Pretty Bird outlive me. And live as long as he can. Yeah. Hi. What is it? Yeah. Yes, I know I need you. Hi. Hi. He always shoves his face in my face. What? What? What is it, Delta? I know. Kisses. Yes, Mama loves kisses. Mama loves kisses. You're such a good boy. Nums? What is that? That actually sounded like a honk. All right, you're going to have to get out of Mama's face and feed everybody. Hey, Squirt, you want some? Oh, somebody's hungry. She's so tiny. She's so cute. Look how cute she is. Remember when Squirt wouldn't even do this? She wouldn't take anything from me. Now at least she's gotten used to me enough to take food from me out of my hand. Well, she's been doing this for a couple of months now, but still, I always enjoy it a lot when she does it. I love her tiny little beak. I really, really, really hope that I can add a little cactus, even if it's another female. I'm thinking though that it might be better if it's a male, so that Hey, 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 hey. I don't think so. You do not need to attack her, buddy. She's not taking all your food. She barely... One of your bites is like an entire meal, okay? I think you're good. You guys get a whole bushel every night. Here you go. That's a big bite, free bird. Hey, give me that. Goofies. And I'm pretty sure Pretty Bird's been gaining weight, by the way. Just comparing to how light he was when I was picking him up while he was sick, compared to his weight now when I pick him up, I'm pretty sure that he's gained weight. I wouldn't be surprised if he put on another pound or two. Hi, buddy. What are you doing? You saying hi? Hey, Pretty Bird. Pretty Bird. Come on, buddy. Come this way. Come on. Num num num. She does this thing where she nibbles on my jacket or on my pant leg when she wants food. That's what she does. She's very similar to Nugget in that way. Which I just think is hilarious. Here, then eat it. Don't bite at her. Just take a bite. Here. What? Now you have an attitude? Fine. Come on, guys. Come on. I'll break up the food over here. Come on. Hey, Bert. You coming? Come on, Bert. Hey, Bert. Hey, Bert. Pretty Bird. Pretty Bird. Come on, babies. Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Come on. Guys, you're going the wrong way. Dorks. You're Pretty Bird. I'll get you a grain in a minute, ladies. Alright, I'm gonna have to set this down. Oh yeah, he's definitely had a much better appetite. See, he has barely any patience. He wants his kale. Even when it comes to grains, his appetite has gotten much better. And he's doing much more foraging, which is great. Take that glove off as well. Alright, guys, let me come find you. Pretty Bird, here. Let me get this off. Gotta rip it up still and put it in the water. That's how they like to eat it. I like to do it that way because that's how they would naturally be eating in the wild a lot. They would do a lot of foraging in the water, finding their food in there. So, come on, go on, Delta. Come on, let's go, Delta. Go on, Delta. Go on, Delta. Let's go on. Don't give me an attitude. Let's go. No, let's go. No. Delta, stop posing. Let's go. Go on, bud. Go on. Thank you. Come on, Echo. Echo, come on. There you are. Echo, this way. This way. There you are. Nope, 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 nope. And this is why I don't like it when you guys go over this thing. You okay? why I don't like it if they step over this. She went through here with her foot, because they pull, when they pick up their foot, they go like this at every step, right? They don't just go like this. They pick up their foot when they go over stuff like this. So she went through this, went out here, opened up her foot, set it down, and then was taking a step over with the other foot. And that right here, this, like this, could have broken her leg. So that's why I watched them so closely when they step over. That's why I grabbed her and scooped her backwards so she could pull her foot out without removing her from it. Once she had her foot out, I was helping her over to make sure she wasn't going over too fast and wasn't getting stuck. Now one more. I know you don't like being touched, baby. I'm sorry. Come on. Let's go. Go ahead. It's okay. Go on. Go nice and slow. All right. Good job. All right, guys. No more shenanigans. But that could have been really, really bad. Up, Brie Bird. Be careful. Be careful where you put your head while I'm walking. You okay? You all right, Butters? Yeah? I see somebody eyeing what I've got in my hand. Gotta feed the other goose some kale. Hey, yes, Nugget, I know you're a goose. There you go, Nugget. Looks like Echo's having fun making a mess. Echo. Nugget, I'm not going to sit here and hand feed you this whole time. You're a big girl. You have an entire setup down here that's just yours. You have a whole kingdom going on over here. You do not require to be fed, young lady. Oh, so we have this one little chick that we're pretty sure is Nugget's baby based on the egg color, and then comparing it to the egg that I was pretty sure Nugget had laid once she started laying again. And there's one of those eggs that Grilled had hidden from us that looks like it was Nugget's egg. The baby has hatched, and it's now about, let's see, about 2 weeks old probably. And we still think it's most likely Nuggets. Now we're probably still going to hatch one of Nugget's eggs one day when I see her actually lay it, just to have one of Nugget's offspring, just in case, because it's just something my daughter really wants to have. Nugget being a black star, where the average chicken has a 10 to 15 year life expectancy. Guess what we did to chickens like this? Nugget is a hybrid chicken that's specifically bred for two things, meat and eggs. She's what you call a dual-purpose chicken. Nugget's life expectancy is 3 to 5 years. That's how much damage we've done to this bird, to this particular breed. So black stars, which is what Nugget is, have a life expectancy of around up to 5 years, in average. Because they tend to die from ovary issues, oval duct issues, uterine issues, like just their entire reproductive system, not uterus, but you know what I'm trying to say, like similar to, but their entire reproductive system, because it's so overworked, because she literally lays 320 eggs a year. Up to 320 eggs. And I paid attention to it last year when she was laying all year round. And she only took a short break during the summer when we first got here. Yeah, she laid literally almost daily. Like, we're talking like taking maybe 1 day a week off. So when you calculate that out throughout the year, she's laying a lot of eggs. Whereas most chickens will lay somewhere between 180 to 250 eggs a year. Black stars will lay up to 300, 320 eggs a year. And because of that high production, they're extremely prone to things like becoming egg-bound, um, developing a prolapse of their vent, and those things kill them. They're also prone to other issues like cancers and growths in their ovaries. And it's just messed up because she's supposed to have 15 years, 10 to 15 years of life. And it's a harsh reality, especially for my daughter, who's 11 years old, who rescued this chicken when she was 9 years old as a little tiny chick with horrible pasty butt, which basically means her butt was completely clogged up and backed up with poop. So once that plug of hard poop was removed, she had all this backup poop that her body was convulsing out of her, but it doesn't end once she gets the backup out. So her body has already stopped taking in nutrition because of all that backed up poop. This results in the baby chicken lagging in development, which is why Nugget was only about a third of the size of her siblings. They were all hatchmates. They all had hatched within a day or two of each other. Nugget was tiny compared to them. And she shouldn't have survived. The odds were stacked against her. She was the worst one out of the bunch. She had horrible, I call it mud butt, but it's called pasty butt. But she had horrible pasty butt, and we kept cleaning her up. She kept having diarrhea. And so every 30 minutes to an hour, my daughter would sit there with a syringe and push out a tiny bit of water so it would just kind of pearl at the tip of the syringe. And she would hold it to the tip of the beak of Nugget when she was a baby. And Nugget would then drink it down. And she would keep doing that every hour throughout the day. And then I took over at night, and I did it all night long. And then we would sit there and we would give her food all day long, encourage her to eat, encourage her to drink, give her oatmeal, try to give her anything that would harden her poop a little bit to stop that diarrhea, to stop her body from just pushing it through and just immediately kicking it back out. And we gave her vitamins in her water. I made her little broths. Like I used boiled vegetables and gave her the water from the boiled vegetables so she would get vitamins into her system, hopefully through the water, that her body would hopefully accept the hydration and therefore the vitamins in it. And Nugget made it. And my daughter is insanely proud of this chicken. And we've had her now for 2 years. But this also means that Nugget could die on us any day now, anywhere between now and the next 3 years. Many black stars die at 2 years old, which is one of the reasons I was so worried about her while Pretty Bird was sick, why I was constantly checking on her because she wasn't laying any eggs. I think it all started because she was molting, and the reason it continued was because she was most likely depressed or stressed because Pretty Bird wasn't okay. And then on top of that, we had juvenile roosters in a flock that she wasn't happy about. And I think she had too much stress going on. But she started laying again. She's doing much better. She's okay. Her feathers have grown back in. She's nice and shiny again. A beautiful young lady. Right, Nuggy? My daughter is very sad that Nugget does not have the same life expectancy as many of these other chickens do. And it's not fair, you know? But that's one of those things that we've created as humans. We've changed a species of animal so much because we wanted, literally the purpose was not just to get more eggs out of her, it was to make it so that you could just keep one kind of chicken instead of having to keep 2 different kinds of chickens. So you can raise black stars for both eggs and meat. So, making it easier on you. You don't have to keep 2 flocks of purebred animals to get a good result. You can have just one kind of chicken. There's this other kind of chicken, I think it's called a broiler chicken. They're white. They'll die of a heart attack by the time they're 8 months old. They won't be able to walk because they become so fat, so obese. They're raised for meat. And if you look them up, they're literally like twice the size of a regular chick by the time they're a couple of weeks old. It's insane. And they have such a sweet disposition. Very sweet, sweet animals. But we've messed with their DNA. We've changed them. We've bred them in a certain way to encourage them to become larger, produce more meat, so that we wouldn't have to wait so long for the chicken to become a certain size before we could then harvest them. So those are usually slaughtered, I think, at 5 or 6 months old. They're put down. At 5 or 6 months old, regular chickens are usually not even fully grown. But the broilers are ginormous. I have a lot of meat on the bones. I don't know. Stuff like that. I get breeding animals and adding certain characteristics for our benefit to an extent, right? Like enhancing a farm animal to make them, say, more resilient to certain things, say, like more resilient to heat, for like the Texas cows. So there's been some crossbreeding between our domestic cows and then the cows that they often have in Africa, I believe, or South America. The ones that have a humpback, they have that like pouch on the back of their, where they like retain water and nourishment. So when they go through droughts, they can survive. There are some people experimenting with crossbreeding them, and some people who already own them. And from my understanding, it doesn't bring a negative so far to like breed those two animals together. The problem is that there are many people or many animals that are so overbred because we're looking for a certain standard that it starts hurting them. Oh, I'm so sorry, Wolf Dog Mom. I did post some videos. Did they not post? I don't know, my count like has been funny. I've been trying to go live whenever I can as well. I know I've been recording videos, but I've been forgetting to upload them. So I'm so sorry. Did not mean to scare you. Pretty Bird's right over here. He's snoozing. He's the one with his head tucked away. See, I'm sleepy. As of right now, from what I can tell, so this is like a great moment to compare them too. You can see, we've got one of the Canadas, which we know has been healthy. You can see she mostly stands still, and then there's some slight swaying happening, right? Some slight side to side. I don't know if y'all can pick up on that. See that? A little bit of swaying side to side. So remember with Pretty Bird how much his body was convulsing when he was breathing. And you can see that Pretty Bird is really not moving much more than the other geese while they're sleeping. So from what I can tell, he appears to be much better. Hey, Pepper. What's up? Shh. Good night, night. Night, night, Pepper. Yes. I don't want to jinx it. I'm funny about that with Pretty Bird lately. I keep having weird moments where I swear I feel like something's off, but I was talking to Greg about it a couple days ago. I was on a live, um, and Greg and I were discussing this about the possibility of Pretty Bird having developed an allergy, maybe. That whenever he nips the kitties to tell them to stay distant from him, that maybe he gets some of that dander into his mouth. And that could be why sometimes he still is showing tiny little bits of like moving his beak while breathing. But it's only happening like once in a blue moon. I haven't seen it in a while though. So I'm hoping that he's just getting better. I'm wondering if maybe through being sick he did develop like a higher like more of a sensitivity to it. Because I do know that. Hey, why did you wake up? Did you have enough of a nap? It's okay, Pipbird. Go ahead. I do know that birds are oh yeah. Birds are, from my understanding, birds are inherently intolerant and or allergic to cats, to feline, to their dander and to their saliva. I knew they were allergic to their saliva, but based on what some people have told me, they can also be very sensitive to their dander. Especially since when they groom themselves, they lick their fur and everything. So for someone like me, for an example, I'm allergic to cat saliva and to their pee and poop. As in me, the human, actually am allergic to cats. But I'm not allergic to their fur. I'm allergic to their saliva. And the way you can tell us apart on what you're allergic to about the cat is actually when you can be around cats, even living with cats, with barely any or no reaction to them. But when you touch them, you seem to have a reaction almost immediately, or if you like are hovering over the cat litter, cleaning it, or things like that. Like if you're cuddling with them, touching them, or you like they lay on your bed on your pillow, and then you go to sleep, and then you have allergy breaking out, and your eyes start itching and stuff. Usually that means you're not allergic to their dander, you're actually allergic to their saliva. And usually people who are allergic to dander are also allergic to dog dander. This is based on just my personal research. As always, I tell you guys, go look it up yourselves. Do not claim to know 100% or know for sure, but this is just based on my memory, based on what I've looked into, and what I've dealt with. And so, from my understanding, birds had the same allergy level as I did. But that they basically, that's why when birds are bitten by a cat, it almost always gets infected or becomes a problem, and they often have a hard time surviving from it, or from any kind of feline. They have a hard time surviving from it because the saliva from the cats is toxic to them. That's why you often also will hear about activists of like reptiles or of birds getting really angry in the videos where people let birds hang out with cats, because they're literally allergic to the cat. Like you're actually putting your animal in life danger, not just did you get it? It's all right, Pipbird. You go night night. Night night. It's okay. You can go night night again. You can go night night again. It's okay, Bubbles. The only thing that I'm still worried about right now, I know, right? I've gotten so used to it by now. The only thing I'm worried about is that this eye, he seems to be closing it more than the other one, and it seems more teary to me and a little bit different than the other one. I'm not 100% sure yet. Again, I kind of feel like I'm always getting paranoid about everything. But I'm going to keep an eye on it. Talk to the vet about it and see if she thinks it's okay to put some eye antibiotics on him. But it does seem like he's getting much better. So, yeah, exactly. But I want to make sure I use the right one and that I don't give him something that's like bad for him. Because, like for an example, antibiotic ointment is fine for chickens. But if you use the antibiotic ointment that has pain reliever in it, it's actually toxic to them. I had no idea about this until a couple of like months ago. What is it with you guys with flying across the room right now? My goodness. It's okay. I think they're done now. They're being little goofies. Did you push it out? Anyway, so I'm concerned that maybe some of the eye ointment could potentially be bad for him, whereas some other eye ointment would be completely fine for him. So I want to just make sure that I don't give him something that's bad for him. Because from what I was told, from what I've learned recently was that, like I said, the antibiotic that has numbing in it. So whenever we use Neosporin for our chickens, we want to make sure that the Neosporin does not have any numbing in it. Because if it has numbing in it, it's bad for them. It can cause problems. But if it has no numbing, then the Neosporin is 100% safe to use. See, doesn't this eye look kind of watery? Like it looks off. Can I see the other face? The other side, Pretty Bird? Pretty Bird, stop turning your head. Come here. See, I feel like, see this eye, he seems to pinch the eye. Like it's really bugging him. Like something's bugging him. Now, it could just be that he has something in his eye that's bugging him. But I swear it looks a little bit swollen. It just, like, he seems to pinch it more often than the other one. But I'm going to try to take some time tomorrow and just watch it. Like, just hang out with him for, like, 30 minutes, an hour straight, which it's not unusual for me to do that. I do that pretty much every day. And then just keep an eye on him, and then just see what I see, to see if it's still happening, if it's persisting, or if it's even a problem at all, or if it seems to be going away. What are you doing, Keisha? Hi there, kitties. Hi, kitties. Hey, Keisha. You need to go lay on your heat mat, little one. Go lay on your mat. This is one of Muffin's babies. Guys, if you know anybody in Texas that wants a kitten, we're still looking for a home for one of our babies. One of our kitties. So, hey, the babies. Or even South Oklahoma. So northern Texas, near the Dallas area, between Dallas and Lake Texoma, and then South Oklahoma near Lake Texoma. What's up, Simba? Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. There's Kit. Kit's looking for a home. There she is. She's a sweet little girl. Her name is Kit, and she's looking for a home. She'll be with us if she doesn't find one, but I think 3 barn cats is plenty. I'm not even sure that that's not too much. I only gave in because I'm a sucker when it comes to my children. Aren't they adorable? Oh, careful! You always have to follow me, don't you? Why do you always have to be on the other side of the door? Huh? I'm always scared I'm going to catch your foot in the door. Watch out, Squirt. Come on, Squirt. Watch out. Watch out, Squirt. Watch out, Squirt. It squirts water. Because Squirt likes to go on the other side of the fence so the other geese can't peck her. Because you guys are big old butt heads. Yes, you are. She's tiny. It was fine and all when you were juvenile, but now it's not. It's not fair anymore. It's not. No, it's not. Yeah, you. All right, maybe I'll get you guys some food. It's getting late. I gotta get up early. I got a doctor's appointment for myself. No, you're not doing this again. Nope. Echo already almost broke her darn leg. Not doing that again. I hate it. 2 weeks ago. These were both 50-pound bags. So was this one. And I already went through one of the 50-pound. I had 4 50-pound bags. I already went all the way through one of them. I've probably gone through somewhere between 100 and probably 130 pounds of food right now. Probably much more than that. Anyway. Like I said. Oh yeah, I do. I do. See, look, I go like this. And that's the first part. And then I go back and I grab some cracked corn and stuff. Well, I mean, just a scratch. It's cracked corn and other stuff. And seeds and stuff. And then I mix it all up. And this is how Pretty Bird likes to eat. That's how they eat. That's their nightly meal. And now for the geese, I don't even know if this is true. Wolf Dog Mom, you might know. To the best of my knowledge, it's actually not very good to feed geese layer feed. But if your local feed store doesn't have waterfowl feed, which they don't have crumble, all flock, and they don't have crumble waterfowl, and my geese won't eat pellets. They only eat crumble. So what I feed them is a mixture of chick feed and layer feed, and then a large part of it is the scratch food. It's probably 50-50 of the scratch food. Just, I kind of mix it all together, to be honest, when it comes to their food, because, well, I don't have the other stuff. And then different times of the year, I add different extra things to it. So, like, right now, I bought a dill of oatmeal, and the oatmeal brings in some extra calcium and I think niacin as well. And then they get niacin from kale every day. I will sometimes grab a niacin supplement pill, and then just add the powder to their water. And I'll randomly do that here and there just to give them a boost of niacin. But since my geese do get a lot of kale, they don't really technically need it, but they get it anyway. Please excuse the ground. I just ran out of that stuff. The flakes, the wood flakes. Yeah, where do I get nutritional yeast? What is that? I've heard about it before. I've heard Goldchaw Farm talk about it. I watch his channel as well. I still think the guy should look into special breed breeding because he breeds the other geese. And since he's trying to make it a business, in my mind, I feel like he's missing out not looking into certain breeds. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. But yeah, so that's what I do for the geese. Is they get a mixture of those three things, four things, depending. But and then sometimes, and I know this might sound controversial, but give me a minute to explain. I add uncooked rice. Hold on, don't panic. I promise I researched it. It does not expand in their crop. It actually does not make them explode. It's an old wives' tale. It's actually something that a lot of people came up with to try and get people at weddings to stop throwing rice. It's literally a lie. Like, you can research it. It's not true. And corn and rice and things like that are actually things that Canada geese will often go and forage off the big fields in spring and fall. So part of the reason why I started doing that with Pretty Bird and why I looked into it for Pretty Bird was because I was like, wouldn't we have a bunch of birds like Canada geese and such exploding on rice fields if it made them explode? Like, wouldn't they just have carcasses all over the rice fields all the time? And when I looked into it, I found out that rice does not make birds explode. And of course, right now, my chickens are getting extra scratch because it's getting cold out. So they get more scratch than usual. Okay, maybe I spoiled that, alright? I might just be trying to make myself sound like I pay more attention to not giving them too many treats. I might not. I don't know. Anyway, so basically what I try to do is I try to add little things like other grains and such to their diet that you don't usually find in the scratch grain food that they get on a daily basis and kind of add it. But one of the things I've tried to do is try and figure out when they would seasonally get access to it based on where their breed or species is from. So for Canada's, corn and things like that, right? Or like rice and all that other stuff. I try to get a whole bunch of stuff. And then for the other geese as well, right? And then, and it's good for them, actually. Hi, Seraphim Goose. Sorry. Yeah, I haven't seen you upload any videos in a while either. I don't blame you, though. Life does get away from you. It seems like no matter what we do, it seems like can't catch up, eh? There's always something that needs doing, working on. My issue is usually I remember to record the video, but then forget to upload it. And I can't even use the whole editing the video as an excuse, because I barely ever edit a video. Because Lord knows I don't have time for that right now. So, yeah. Also, I'm going to be trying, as in probably failing at it, but trying to do better at remembering to upload on By the way, this is for my weaker ones, my outsiders, the ones that don't get to eat as comfortably with the flock as the other ones do. I make little piles of food in random locations, and they know exactly where they are, and they go eat them. Because that way they don't get pecked by the bigger ones or the stronger ones or the ones who are higher up in the food chain. So for an example, Squirt will often eat her food over here because she tends to get pecked by the other geese. Shut up, mamas. I'm not done yet. So there's a pile of food over here. And then for my little bantam coochins, one of them sleeps right there. Hi, Babas. I put a pile of food here. The other one has decided that on top of my tools is a great place to go to sleep. Awesome. Anyway, so, aren't they sweet? Pooping on all my stuff. Let me think. I gotta make sure I don't forget anything. The other reason why I still use chick feed as well is because there are some people who swear, and I haven't looked into it just myself thoroughly yet, but I found that a lot of people on chicken group pages will inform you that apparently layer feed is really bad for roosters and can cause problems for them. Teriyaki, your attitude is not welcome right now. I know your foot hurts. I'm working on it. We gotta leave it alone for a little bit before we can work on it some more, okay? This boy has an attitude lately. Because turns out he's got bumblefoot. And he blames me. Anyway, so because of that, I feed them chick feed. And of course the grains. You having fun? Honking away? Alrighty. Come on, Babas. Go. Teriyaki does not like me very much. But he's got a nasty case of bumblefoot. I had no idea. He wasn't even limping. I found this out because I noticed that next to his spur, I've been so focused on the geese. See, this is what happens. Hey, Teriyaki. Yeah, I know you hate me. Hold on. See, on our right, if you look at his foot, right next to where the spur is at, you're going to notice that his skin kind of protrudes out a little bit. He has a swelling right around his spur area. So I've got two suspicions. Suspicion one, the infection from the bumblefoot, which is on that foot, traveled up to his spur, and we have a real big problem with an infection there. Problem number two, and I'm also treating him for this, and the rest of the flock, which is just awesome, is scaly mites, which can also happen. And considering that this property has a lot of other pests, which is just lovely. Not the neighbors, no, just this property. Always has, apparently. This isn't like us who brought the pests or anything. This has just apparently been a thing. This property apparently has always had a lot of chiggers, fleas, mites. All kinds of gorgeous stuff. It's absolutely mind-blowingly amazing. Anyway, because of that, I'm just gonna assume that there are mites as well. and that it's both, and I'm just treating him for both right now. And the rest of the flock for mites as well. So tonight is not a treatment night, but tomorrow night everybody will get their legs lathered in what's it called again? What's it called? I forgot the word. What's it called? Amprolium? Am I saying it right? Is that what it is? It's like Aquaphor, but instead of it being water-based, it's oil-based. It's like this super sticky, like oily lotion stuff or whatever. I think it's called Amprolium. I don't even know. I feel like I'm saying something really weird right now. Anyway, what's up, kitties? What? Okay, fine. I'll feed you guys again, but let me finish with the birds first, okay? And then I'll get you guys your food. Your food's inside anyways. Just had to buy you guys more food. Fatties. Always spoiled. They get fresh chicken. No, we don't eat our own chickens. The irony of that. Yeah. I can't do it. Not yet. Not right now. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it. To raise my birds for meat. I don't know. Really don't know if I'll ever be able to do that. I think I'm done. I think I did it all. I'm going over all the different steps in my head. I remember everything. Yes, I believe so. Nugget's over there. She did not sneak out. That little girl loves to sneak out lately. If she sees me outside with a flashlight, she'll come out in the dark. As in, the geese will already be inside. And she'll try to sneak out with me because she knows that if I use the flashlight, she can find bugs. And she also knows that there's more bugs outside in the dark. And she knows I'll protect her. So she'll walk after me while I'm walking to like the hose or something to go turn it off or turn it on while I'm working out there. And she'll come up behind me, stand right next to me, right next to like a log or like a bag or something, and she'll just scratch at my leg, startling the bejesus out of me. And then she'll look at me and she'll go, like her whole attitude thing. And she'll like scratch at the rock or at the bag or whatever. And I know exactly what it means. She wants me to move it because she knows there's bugs underneath. Oh man, your goose got bumblefoot? That's got to be so much harder though to treat. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah. So I was gonna say earlier, we think that one of our little chicks inside is Nugget's baby. I'll make you guys a video of that baby real soon, okay? And my daughter came up with the best name for Nugget's child, and we think it's a girl. Finally, for Nugget's daughter. Get this, because Nugget thinks she's a goose, right? And Nugget, technically, in a way, we always say she's our my daughter has named her little chicken Cobra Chicken. So that little one goes by the name Cobra. Because all of our chickens are associated either with chicken foods, because we don't eat our chickens, or associated with with like anything chicken wise, so like wishbone, chicken pox, cobra chicken. Cobra chicken is a term used to that you call Canada geese. You say I was attacked by cobra chickens. If you look up the term cobra chickens, you're going to find it being about Canada geese. I guess a few years ago somebody used the term and it went viral, and ever since then it's become a thing. I heard about it while I was researching about pretty birds, about geese in general. Thought it was funny. And now it's worked its way into our flock. And now we have a little tiny chick that my daughter has named Cobra Chicken since she's the descendant of a goose chicken, which just fits perfectly. Since Nugget thinks that she's another Canada goose. Pretty sure she thinks that she's a Canada goose or a Canada goose hybrid, just like Pretty Bird. Like, I think she identifies herself as being exactly like Pretty Bird. And who am I to tell her that she's not, right? She's not hurting anybody. She's good. She can live her life however she wants. Unless she's not hurting herself and hanging out in the rain all day. Yeah. Dork. That's the only thing I have a problem with when it comes to her whole I'm a goose thing, is that she seems to think that she's waterproof. And that it's a... Sorry, I'm trying to close the gate all the way. Ugh. Over it. Try not to drop the 2 eggs. Hey. Night-night. Night-night, Booger. Pibbert. You say night-night? Say night-night. Shh. Pibbert. Can you say night-night? Can you say night-night? Night-night, everybody. Night-night. I know. Go night-night. Yes, go night-night. So he doesn't want to go night-night. Go night-night. There you go. Good boy. Good boy. Go night-night. Go night-night. Go night-night. Good baby. Pretty Bird used to do that all the time. If I said good night while he was tired, he would start shaking his head no, like he was trying to argue bedtime with me, until eventually he would shove his head into his feather like, fine. And then usually there'd be a big sigh. Mommy loves you, Pretty Bird. Night-night. I love these kind of moments. Oh, yeah. I remember when my husband told me that not to worry about the chickens because they are their own furnaces. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because it was getting cold outside last year, and we had this whole ice storm coming in. And he was like, yeah, don't worry about them. They'll be fine. They're literally their own furnaces. Yeah. When I looked that up, I was like, oh, wow, yeah. Kind of right there. The only reason he knew that, too, is because when he was growing up, his mother had chickens. Sadly, his experience was not very positive. Long story short, he had caught a chicken, saved a chicken. He thinks it was... Oh, I forgot to lock the door. What am I doing? He caught a chicken at, like, some rodeo or something when he was, like, 7 years old. Or 8. It was... He thinks it was probably something like a leghorn. It was all white. And it was still a chick. It was, like, a juvenile. Like, a couple weeks old. And he caught it, and it was the sweetest little chicken, and he loved it with all his heart, okay? There's a reason my husband is very hardened on the outside. And this chicken would cuddle up and just snuggle all the time, right? It was his little baby. And my husband did not have a good childhood, so this was, in a way, very, very important to him, right? This little animal. His parents proceeded to suggest to him that he'd name the chicken Dumpling. which was just a silly name, right? My husband, as a little boy, didn't think anything of it, just thought it was cute and funny, called a little chicken dumpling. Well, a few months later, my son was given the instruments of Dumpling's death, forced to kill his own chicken that he loved with all his heart, to pluck and clean the chicken, and then to eat his pet for dinner. So, to say that it was messed up would be an understatement. And it's one of the reasons you're not going to see any of our chickens having the name Dumpling, most likely. I think one of the chickens made one of the geese angry. We have all of our chickens. Nobody's missing. So this was most likely one of the geese. And this looks like Honey's feathers with the little gold there. So yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of shy away from the idea of, other than my own issue with, killing and eating our chickens. It's one of the reasons I shy away from it, because if I don't have to do it, I'm not going to do it, kind of thing. Now, if this inflation gets worse, if things become worse, if we end up not being able to survive without having to hunt or having to basically provide our own food, then would I have to make a decision at that point? Yes. But then you're also looking at completely different circumstances. Right now, outside of eggs, I don't need anything from these chickens. So I'm not going to do anything else. That's just the way I feel about it right now. Personally. But yeah, anyway. Oh, lovely. Won't you do that on camera? Good job, Keisha. Yes, I'll feed you guys. My goodness, everyone's here. There's Kit. Where's your mother? Muffin! Probably shouldn't yell around in the neighborhood in the evening. Alright, anyways, guys. I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna get ready for bed. I gotta go and get up early. Go to an appointment early in the morning. Thank you for hanging out tonight, for checking on Pretty Bird, for caring about Pretty Bird, for having helped me with Pretty Bird, taking him to the vet. So far, it seems like we won't have to take him back, but I am still keeping a close eye on him, because he did give me some weird signs here and there. I'm just not 100% confident if it's just leftovers, you know? The eye thing, I'll bring it up to the vet. At this point, I don't think I've seen any breathing issues in several days, but I'm going to pay attention closer to marking the calendar to put an X on it each day that I don't see any issues. And like putting a circle or something on the days where I do see any issues, so I can give the vet a better description of what's going on with more details of like how often I've seen anything, if I've seen anything. But I'm also going to note down what was going on today that he was showing some issues with. Were you just turning in a circle trying to catch your own tail? Weirdo. That his eye did look watery today, and he seemed to close it much more so. Anyway, though, I do hope y'all have a wonderful evening. I'm going to check the chat again, because for some reason it does not always pop up when you guys write something. Yeah. Wolf Dog Mom, that some people just, are a certain way. There's nothing we can do about it. But my husband and I both are the kind of people where we promised ourselves that we were going to be the ones to break the cycle, not continue the cycle. And it's pretty much been our focus with our kids, with our animals, with everything that we do. To us, personally, It's kind of like most people are taught how to do things in life, and like for us personally, we learned a lot about what not to do in life during our childhoods. So kind of works out in that area, and that's how we approached it. Rather than copying it, we know what to avoid. So anyway, I'm gonna feed these little boogers. What are you guys doing? Are you purring? You're just trying to convince me with cuteness now, aren't you? They're like, can I has? Look at that face. How am I supposed to say no? Can I have some wet food? Hear that? You guys hear that? This guy's got a loud purr. It's so loud. You're such a loud purr. Alrighty. I really do have to go in. I always get distracted by cuteness. Come on, I gotta open that door. Can you move, Kesia? Come on. Kesia is Russian for cat. It's the name of my first cat. Come on. My daughter decided to honor my first cat by naming this little one Kesia because I said it had the same goofy, I'm confused eyes as my first Maine Coon cat did. It's my favorite cat breed, by the way, is Maine Coons. If there was ever a purebred animal I would buy from a breeder, it would be a Maine Coon. It's the only one that I would give in on that end for, but outside of that, I really, you know, I'm referring to cats or dogs, basically. There you go. Alrighty. Y'all have a good night. Thank you so much for stopping in, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night and a wonderful day tomorrow. Good night.